What was the first major news story you remember as a child? Ronald Reagan being shot. I'm just old enough to remember it and revert being scared because I didn't know what would happen next. I was 8 at the time. Watergate. My dad had recently been promoted to VP of his company and I was convinced that if Nixon was forced out my dad would replace him. If sports count, definitely the Bears winning the Super Bowl. I lived in Chicago at the time, and remember watching even though I was 3. When I was in 3rd grade we had a solar eclipse. I remember we had the day off and got cheap cardboard glasses to look at the eclipse. John Lennon's death cut into my scheduled romper room. Mary. I know that was the episode where she points at the camera and says she's seen my name. Challenger explosion. I remember it because it interrupted The Price is Right, and my babysitter was pissed. I have a very clear memory of kids putting stickers on gas masks to make them less scary during the Gulf War news broadcasts. I don't have a great memory and have no idea about anything from the 90s. We probably just didn't see the news at that age. But I remember at high school there was footage of 9/11 as it happened. Tonya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan. I remember the realization that violence is a real thing that happens to real people. I also remember the Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky scandal, but that was later. Guess things haven't changed much in 20-30 years. Obama's election. I was 4. I didn't know why, but his name always stood out to me for being super unique. There were also a lot of articles and stuff about him at the time, even if I'm not even from USA, and I'm pretty sure it was the first ever big thing I've learned from the world. Oklahoma City bombing. I was in 4th grade and we were learning about media working with video and putting on a fake newscast. The teacher kept getting upset with me because I was imitating newscaster voice as I wasn't taking it seriously. I'm like, this is what newscasters sound like. It'd be when the Clinton administration and Congress were able to create a budget surplus. Then he had to get his to quit and give Bush the White House against his VP Gore. Very clearly remember the Michael Jackson interview where he said they photographed his penis and my mom quickly turning off the TV. Also remember sitting at my cousin's house and watching the Bronco chase. Interview here. I was 7, I'm surprised I held on to that for 30 years. Either the Moscone milk assassinations, E28093 milk assassinations, or Jonestown. I do not remember which news broke first. I was 6. Nothing earlier comes to mind. November, 1978 was a hell of a month. 3 prominent politicians from the Bay Area were murdered in a span of 10 days. Singer Aaliyah's death by plane crash in August 2001. It was sad since I liked her songs as a kid. And crazy it happened weeks before 9/11. I vaguely remember watching OJ's car chase. I clearly remember constantly hearing about Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky. Nixon resigning. I was like 4. Just about the time you start retaining memories. My parents said he stole from all of us and I imagined him sneaking around in all black with a mask on like the Hamburglar, breaking into one house after another across the entire nation. Mind blown. Kennedy assassination. My 5th grade teacher's husband was a policeman in East Texas. Apparently the story went out on the police radios, he told her and she told us. Us little kids knew about as soon as anybody. I was in the bathtub at my grandmother's trailer down the beach. I had just turned 5. My grandfather bursts into the bathroom and says, "You gotta see this, they're chasing OJ down the highway." That's my first memory of news. The Vietnam ceasefire. I thought the newscaster said ceasefire and I thought he was talking about a spy on a ship. The siege of Beirut. Mom had been a Middle Eastern Studies major and she was sobbing in front of our old 9 black and white TV as Israeli forces shelled this city. I was 2.5 years old. The rescue of the 33 miners in Chile. I was 6 when it happened and it was past my bedtime, so I didn't get to see the end. Of course they made a movie about it. The Falklands War. Every evening on TV a stern man from the government would tell us how many soldiers had died. 4/11 Venezuelan coup. I'm pretty grown up now, but I'm dumb as a MF and I don't remember any major news before that. Tiananmen Square. I remember my Saturday morning Garfield cartoon being interrupted for a special news bulletin. The Challenger explosion. I was 9 years old. I also vividly remember baby Jessica.